Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Today I would like to discuss three different themes. First, tritone substitution. Second, extended dominant chords. And third, 2-5 patterns. For all these different topics, I would like to use the song Girl for Ipanema, a really basic harmonic progression to discuss these three different topics. So I will play the really basic harmonic progression in C using only three chords. I know this is not the original harmonic progression, but this is a really basic harmony if you want to understand the three different topics that we will discuss today. I have the C major 7, then I have the D minor 7, and I have the G7. That's it. Okay, let's start with the tritone substitution. So, as we saw in other videos, we have the tritone, the augmented fourth interval that normally we have in the dominant chords, that we have the tritone. So in this case, in C, when I play the G7, I have the tritone playing the B and the F. I don't want to have this to approach my tonic. I need to find another solution where I can have, in some ways, the notes from the chord, but having a different chord. So let's see one chord that is pretty similar, but we have some differences when I play this. For example, when I have the G7, I have the G, also I have here the B, I have also the F, and I have also the C, sorry, the G. So these are my notes. But it's really interesting because when I play, for example, when I play, for example, D flat major 7, I have almost the same notes. Okay, I have the tritone. But I will have a different way to achieve my chord. So in this case here, I have the tritone here, but the feeling of resolution when I go to the C is not the same feeling of dominant and tonic. No, I have the tritone resolution, but with a different feeling. So this is a possibility to solve the problem using that we call the tritone substitution, where you apply the same tritone that you had before, but you will not have this tritone in the same way because you are not solving in the simple manner. So you are solving in a way that you create something different. And there is a kind of a rule if you want to check where to find out the chord. So for example, if you're playing the G, you need to see one augmented fourth below. So you have the note, for example, you have the G, and if you go exactly to form the interval of, in this case here, for one augmented fourth playing below, so you have exactly the D flat. So this is the interval that you have. Yes? And if you go up, for sure, you have in a different way, and you have also an augmented fourth, so respecting the interval and having the same tritone. So you have exactly using the interval of an augmented fourth from the G to the D flat, you know what will be your tonic. So for all the notes you have the same rule. So for example, if you are in F and your dominant is C7 and you want to see what could be the tritone substitution, so just play the augmented fourth. Okay, so in this case is G flat, just play the major chord, but with the minor 7, so the 7 chord, and you have exactly your tritone substitution. In the Girl for Ipanema, actually there is a part that we have this exactly in the end, that we have if we play like this, it seems like, Gustavo, but this dominant chord is not fitting well. Exactly, because Tom Turbine is using here a tritone substitution, not using the G7, but using the D flat 7 chord. Yes. So the tritone substitution is just to find out the chord that you have from the dominant with a distance of augmented fourth going up or going down, and you have the note, and you play this 7 chord, and then you can play the tonic, and you have exactly the feeling of tritone substitution. You can apply in many cases, especially if you want to avoid the clashes with a minor second or a minor ninth or augmented fourth or augmented 11th in the melody. Let's go to the second example. So, extended dominance. So if we take so first of all, what is the meaning of extended dominance? It means that you are connecting 7 chords in a progression normally organized by intervals of fifths. So this is the reason that you try to organize using intervals of fifths. So for example, if I play one sequence, I want, for example, to achieve the chord of C major, and I will use a kind of a progression, just playing a lot of dominant chords. So I'm playing here, for example, the E7, which is the dominant of A7, and then, so from the A7, for example, I can play here. So the A7 is the dominant of D7, and D7 is the dominant of G7, and G7 is the dominant of C. So I can play this progression of dominants, and this is that we call the extended dominant progressions. So I'm just connecting a lot of dominant chords, and they are separated and they are organized by a distance of fifths. In these cases, we're playing a fifth below, just to have the note here. And we are respecting this interval of fifths. So again, Because let's suppose that I want to. So I can just play. And this is what we can apply in the Girl from Ipanema exactly when we finish the first phrase. So we can avoid just doing no, we can apply this rule just putting a different kinds of extended dominant chords. So let's go. Or you can finish the phrase first. So this is a way to use a sequence of extended dominants. And for sure, when you use extended dominants, the same principle, we need to avoid clashes with the unwanted intervals. But also you need to check if it makes sense to use. And sometimes you don't need to use too many connections, so maybe you can use just two. Or maybe... So you don't need to use all of them. So just maybe three. So yes. And the last topic for today, the 2-5 patterns. So normally when we say the term 2-5 patterns, so normally I have the tonic, and normally I play the 2, so considering the tonic, so the second minor, and the dominant 7, so the 5th, so the 2-5 and tonic. So when I have, for example, a progression like this, I can do. So this is the typical 2-5. But also what, for example, Renifeld says is that we also have a pattern of 2-5 when we play, for example, on a half step from the dominant minor, the dominant and the tonic. So this is another example of that we call the typical 2-5, but this 2 is not the real 2 because this is a kind of a half step up from the tonic, from the dominant, and you have this pattern. So for example, if we are in C, so and we have our dominant, in this case the G7, so you need to play the G sharp minor 7, the dominant and the tonic. So G sharp 7, G7 and D. But for sure the typical is to use the real 2-5-1. And actually tones are being applied exactly this in the Girl from Ipanema in the last phrase of the song. So now I will play again all the things exactly as I played before, but just using at the end this chord progression. So so this is in the way that I was playing, but in the original one so we have a chord progression using a lot of 2/5. Okay, so in this case, the chords that don't should been played was E minor. So this is the 2. So A is the 5 of D. So, and then D is the 2 of G, and G we go to the C. So E minor, so E minor is 7, D minor is 7, A, C. So again, so this is the application of the 2/5. Okay, so to finish this video, we saw 3 things. So tritone substitution, when you still have the sound of the tritone, but you use a different chord, and normally the chord that you use is a half step up the tonic, and you will approach the tonic. Or as we are playing in C, so C major 7, so you have D, B flat, so a half step from the first chord that you are playing, the tonic in this case. So the second thing that we saw was the extended dominant, when you are connecting by fifths different 7 chords until your target chord. And the last thing, the 2/5 patterns, especially using the second minor and the 5th 7 chord to go to the tonic. But you can repeat this pattern many times, as we saw in Girl for Ipanema, playing E minor 7 going to A7, that prepare for D, but you start again another pattern playing D minor 7, G7 and C major 7. So these were our 3 topics. So please try to play not only with the song and with other songs that you know, just to try to take more examples, and you can apply in your own songs to try to see these 3 different reharmonization techniques. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.